Hey, this is John Carlos, and I'm here with a look at the Hot Toys 1/6 scale die-cast figure of War Machine from Avengers Endgame. If you want a closer look at that opening, I will do it again. And there's also this other bit underneath. Now, this is my first time getting my hands on a Hot Toys die-cast figure, and my first impression is, this thing is insane. It's also heavy as fuck, so be careful about that. Also, the ankle joints on this figure are not stiff, and if you put just like a little bit of weight going forward, just like there's so much weight at the top, he has a tendency to want to tip over if he's leaning forward too much. So, if you have this figure, for the love of God, be careful with that. Use a figure stand or tilt him back a little bit. Now, I'm a big fan of the Mark VI version of War Machine, and I can't deny that Hot Toys has done a great job capturing the general design of it into 6 scale. The quality of like the little tiny markings, you know, where it says like Colonel James Rhodes right there. The little tiny like nicks in the paint. You can just see these little tiny little nicks in it. You see them in various little spots. It's almost like it's just dirt on the arm. You can see that all over the figure, but the general sculpt, the use of colors, I mean, it's pretty simplistic as far as like the charcoal gray and the more silver, but it looks great. Little tiny details though. The little grooves right in here, right in there. The paint on the shoulders here, really solid. There's some more kind of dirt on the edges of the head there. I freaking love the details on this. Even on the like the darker spots of his arm, you can see just some highlights of like kind of stray dirt or nicks. Even like in between like the like knee joint, these little grooved lines. There's so much detail in here. And I mean, that's the name of the game with Hot Toys, right? Is detail. And here's some more artwork on his thighs. And here's a look at the back of the figure. We're going to get into the articulation in a moment, but I just want to do a general appreciation of the quality of the sculpt and the general design and paint on this figure. It's pretty great. Now, the feet in particular on this figure, to me, are freaking nuts. We've got the ankle joint and this little flap here that adjusts with it, and there's also the front of the foot also flaps up, so that's cool. We've also got these little inner flaps here that can flap up. This little front section here can like move about. Even in the back we have these little back flaps, the little inside flaps. I mean, it's really impressive just exactly what just the sheer ankle area alone can do. Also, you can adjust the feet slightly. They come down ever so slightly for articulation purposes. We already saw the knees. There's a pretty good range of motion with them as far as how they move. And they're all clickety-clack when that happens. But what's worth noting is the legs, the top of the legs. If you so desire, you can pull them out a bit. Well, there goes his torso, but you can pull that leg down for a greater range of motion. Makes a lot of noise when you do that. Kind of freaked me out at first. Speaking of ranges of motion, there are little flaps around the leg here. If you want to bring the legs up, those lift up to compensate. So does this little side flap here. Although it's being a little stiff. There we go. And then also, his butt flaps up. And I just love that, you know, he's got a butt flap. It's very simple. Doesn't have this bigger range of motion as the sides, but still. And then we also have, there's a lot of extendable bits on this, which I find interesting. Like, we already have the upper torso that can move, but you can pop this up a bit, and now he can do a crunch, and this little section right here moves and flaps and adjusts for that crunch. So that's cool. The rest of the articulation is pretty standard as far as like, you know, the double elbow joints and like the rotation at the wrists, the ball jointed head, but also like the rotation, the kind of swivel ball joint at the base of the neck. It is worth noting the shoulders on this are flippin' nuts. There's such strong range of motion there. Also, like the shoulder things flap up and adjust. They're like almost, yeah, they're spring loaded, so they can adjust to like whether your shoulders go up or down or front and back. They bring them up and they compensate for that. And also, it's kind of hard to see in here, but if you try to look right in there underneath this little thing, the shoulders also kind of hinge forward and back, so that's pretty nifty. This does not come with a lot of accessories, but I would not expect it to. It does come with an alternate head with Rhodey's face sticking through, and I gotta say the likeness of Don Cheadle is pretty spot on. It's what Hot Toys does, and the sculpt on his cheeks, on his nose, his mouth, his slightly furrowed brow, the wetness of his eyes, this is great. Not only did they capture Don Cheadle's likeness, but they managed to capture Rhodey's expression, and that's pretty great. Now, this also comes with a little faceplate. It is magnetic. It's got two little magnets like in the little top right there. So they just fit right on like so, and you close the mask. It's great. There's also magnets at the top, so you can have it open and rest on top of his head, and I gotta say that looks pretty good. We also have an alternate set of hands. The figure starts off with fists, but we also have these open palm hands that are good for repulsor blasts. And then we also have these similar hands, but with articulated fingers. And I love when figures' hands come with articulated fingers, because even though I'm 40, I will always be a child that will giggle at this. And then lastly, we have this cannon, which will mount to the shoulder of the figure in a moment, but I just want to give you guys a closer look at some of the details on it. And it is worth noting that, besides the little articulation points here, that it also has like this little rotating bit there, and I think that's pretty nifty. Here's a look at the figure stand. The trend seems to be the Avengers A against some sort of character logo. I do like that the A is nice and shiny, whereas the rest of the base is matted. It says War Machine. No little metal plate, just the white text on there. He does have the fancy bendy arm, which I do like. It does require that you loosen the clamp to slide it down and then like tighten it with that little screw back there, and then you can put the little capper on top. But I do like the little padded clamp here with the little padding on the inside. Now I'm about to put the batteries into this figure and turn on all the light features, but before I do so, I just got to point out that this figure also comes with this like tool, this little stuffer stick. I've seen that before, but it also comes with tweezers. That's new for me, and it comes with its own screwdriver. How nice is that? To put in the batteries in the head, you just pop this little section off, unscrew that, and install the batteries. The on-off switch is right there. The batteries for the torso are installed in the back. Again, you unscrew that, on-off switch is there. And the batteries for the hands are installed inside the arm. Unscrew that, install the batteries, light switch is right there. Now I'm not going to show you all the battery assembly, but I will show you one example. So here is the right arm. Might as well go ahead and attach this while I'm at it. That's a little snug, but there we go. And that can rotate up and swivel around. Alright, here we have them with all the lights on. We've got the light up eyes, we've got the 3 lights on the chest, we have the lights on the hand, but we also have these little red lights on the top of the forearms. Here's a close-up look at the light on the forearm, and a closer look at the hand repulsors. I gotta say, the chest lights look really good, and I'm happy with how the eyes turned out. Yeah, I'm really happy with how this looks. I think the light reads really, really well. I like the separation between like white and red, and the arc reactor in the chest looks cool. And it definitely reads really well in the dark. I do dig the shoulder cannon quite a bit. I'm happy with the range of motion and the articulation as far as like, just like having it store backwards. But also once you bring it up, the way it can pivot to not only the right, but you can bring it over his head and have it shoot to the left. Now, I will point out one little nitpick I have, and that's with these little flaps right here. They do not lay flat when the legs are in their up position. They do lay flat when you pull the legs down, but I do wish they were flush with the rest of the body when the legs were in the standard position. They don't stick out drastically, but still, I wish they were perfectly flush. I was going to show you guys the alternate head with the Rhodey face, but you know what? I'm having the hardest time taking this head off. The neck section will come out, but I can't pop this head off for the life of me. So I give up. But here's the fun thing that I didn't show you before. The chest plate comes completely off. And you know what? I think that inner gack is really nicely sculpted. I think that looks really cool. Now this figure retails for $369, which is a lot more than your average Hot Toys figure. Even though it doesn't come with a lot of accessories, I do understand the price point. And that's because it's a real quality figure. Not just because it has a good sculpt, not just because it has strong and unique articulation and really cool light-up elements, but the fact that so much of this is made out of die-cast metal. When you've got it on the tabletop or in hand, it just looks and feels a cut above your average plastic Hot Toys Iron Man figure. So I like it. Now, $369 is a lot of scratch, but if you do have it, you can rest assured that this is a damn good figure. So thanks for watching, everybody. And let me know in the comments below what you think of this figure. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to follow me on social media, I'll put up the links right now.